Thank you again to AJ and Experiment Zone. We are now going to kick off session 2 of our sales and biz dev track today, and we're going to talk about how to cheat on the B2B playbook. As we know, growing a tech startup isn't one size fits all. And in this session, Laura is going to share real ways to grow your business by borrowing and cherry picking from a few different traditional B2B and DTC playbooks. We're now going to kick it over to Laura Oxler, the Customer Success Manager at Suna, and Brianna Littlepage, the Director of Marketing and Sales at Suna.
Hello, everyone. Erica, I'm heard and everything. Is my audio working? Okay, yes. Cool. Awesome. Well, I think that let's get this deck up here and we can get started. Oh, perfect. Cool. Thank you so much, Erica. So our session is called How to Cheat on the B2B Playbook. So today we are going to go over some examples how at our company, Breeze and my company, how we have cheated on the B2B Playbook and go over some other brands that have done so as well. So today we're going to move through three playbooks and some pillars associated with each, and then give you some tips on how to cheat on yours. So diving right in. My name's Laura Oxler. I'm Suna's Customer Success Manager. My background is in marketing and content strategy. So at Suna, at the moment, I'm focusing on our client and the customer experience, but I also work as Bree's counterpart on helping with some of Suna's marketing.
Hi, and so I'm Brianna Littlepage. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing at Suna. And my background really is in growth as well as digital marketing and building consumer brands. And so kind of bring that to the Suna tech world around how do we really position ourselves and bring into our marketing strategy as a B2B company. So jumping in a little bit about Suna, I'm not sure how much you guys are familiar with it in this audience, but Suna is actually a female-founded startup. We launched in Denver in April of 2019, and we have studios in Minneapolis and as of last month in Austin here in Austin, Texas. So we're really proud to be part of the Austin startup community, and we're really looking forward to creating photos and videos for the many startups around here. So we create, anything around about us videos, product pics to free headshots. And so our mission here really soon is all about being a fast casual content studio with a mission to create quality content for all. And here is our new location here in Austin. So check us out. We're over in East Austin on East Cesar Chavez. And we'll dig more about what Suna does. But everyone should know that we do offer free headshots to everyone. So we'd love to have you come in, check out the studio, and get a free headshot on us.
Okay, so first, before we dive into the actual playbooks, we want to have a little game here to test some playbook knowledge. So we realize we haven't dug into the nitty-gritty of each of these yet, so that's why we're here. But we wanted to get your mind going with a little exercise to start with. So what we're going to do is show you a few photos, and what we'd like you to do is identify which marketing playbook you think that they're following based on the image. So the 3 playbooks that we're focusing on today are business to business, direct to consumer, and retail first. So now let's have some fun, go through a few photos here. This is the first one here, shows a store with some shoes, some interesting elements here. So if you're looking at this image, do you think that this would be business to business, a direct to consumer approach, or following a retail first playbook? This next one, how about this cute little pig wearing a mask? Do you think this graphic would be from a B2B company, direct to consumer, or retail first? How about this hilarious image of these lemons flying all over the place? What do we think about this one? And finally, here's the last one. So B2B, direct to consumer, or retail first. So we're going to revisit these brands at the end. And at a glimpse, these companies appear to have a straightforward approach. So you look at a storefront and you might think, okay, yeah, that's going to be a retail first playbook. But we have a little secret to share, and that's that all of these companies are cheating on their standard playbook in some way or another. So each of these companies has a standard playbook. They've all broken out of it in some way to stand out and have a competitive advantage. So before we dive in, we want you to be thinking of the area of business that you're trying to grow. So we all, depending, from if you are a just a single person consultant or a business. We all have these different areas that we're trying to grow, acquisition, loyalty, whatever it might be. Keep that in mind as we walk through this so that you can check out these playbooks and see which ones that you can cherry pick from to help drive that area of growth.
Sweet. So I'm going to dive in a little bit. Just a reminder. So, Suna is a tech company, but we have a consumer-facing product, and we actually have retail stores. So we have a lot of different things kind of happening, and we're not a one-size-fits-all approach for marketing. So when we were thinking about marketing to other businesses, we knew we couldn't just pull from the B2B playbook. Instead, we really started thinking about how to evaluate each of the B2B, the DTC, and the retail first to figure out how we want to pull together our marketing strategy across those. So before we dive into Suna and how we cheated, let's break down these playbooks, starting with the business-to-business marketing. Okay, so here's a snapshot of some of the B2B businesses, many of which we use here at Suna. I'm sure many of you guys are familiar with these, and we have a lot to learn from these brands and how these strategy ladders, their strategies ladder up to the pillars that we're going to look at. And we're thinking about B2B. There's always some debate about what playbooks and how they should be structured. And these are some of the pillars that we've identified that are pretty consistent for us throughout B2B businesses. So it's really a focus around solutions, stickiness. There's the background. I'm sure you guys have experienced.
You knew it would happen at some point.
I know. I'm quick to the mute, but I don't think it's going to happen today. Stickiness, leadership, retention, and trust. So if you look at each one of these, and we're going to dive into each one. Solutions, so you really in top of mind comes up for us is Shopify. Shopify makes e-commerce easy. I'm sure many of you guys are on Shopify, are familiar with the platform. And really they've identified this idea, that every company needs to sell online, but setting up e-commerce is difficult and cumbersome. So when you exist in a B2B world, you're really focused around solving a problem for businesses. And Shopify launched knowing that they could solve a massive headache. And now it's the solution for a brand of any size to get really into the e-commerce game. Second one is really about stickiness. So stickiness is all about ingraining your brand into a business. And so how can you make your product so sticky that's integral to how the business functions? Slack was not the first instant messenger, but it was so easy to use and user-friendly. It has become a game-changing lifeblood of so many companies, including Suna. The next one we think about is really leadership. Leadership is, being a thought leader in the B2B space is an important pillar. If you think about thought leaders, you think about their content. And if your business is delivering on this pillar, other businesses can really lean on you to deliver ideas, solutions, and inspiration to help solve their problems. Gusto is an all-in-one people platform. And really, the Gusto supports many businesses not only on their day-to-day kind of payment structure, but really found a way to curate and provide resources for taxes, onboarding, payroll, and it's all backed up by thought leadership. So the founders of startups don't have to do the ton of the digging to find the answers. And it's a big time savings and has become an integral resource for a lot of startups. In terms of retention, so in B2B SaaS companies, where customer retention is everything. The better a company is at keeping their customer, the better they are growing. Successful B2B businesses really focus on successful onboarding, exceptional customer service, and pricing models to incentivize retention. But most importantly, businesses really need to deliver on a service that businesses depend on, will continue to use even after they've made their initial commitment. And Expensify is a great example of this because it really not only manages your receipts, but it continues to really learn about what you buy and how it should be organized, and so that you can set it up and really forget about it. And so as you continue to scale, Expensify can really scale with your business. And the last one we think about is trust. So B2B is all about building on trust. So when you're building your business, you really need to find other businesses that you can rely upon so that you can build without having to restart and kind of rebuild your ecosystem around you. And Stripe does that from day one, right? So that when you're getting on Stripe, that they're going to process your payments, which is the most integral part of starting up a business. But then it continues to become so essential in the everyday business that you trust that it really does work.
Okay, so thanks for that B2B breakdown. Moving on to the second playbook here, the direct-to-consumer breakdown. So take a look at these brands. These are a lot of the most popular direct to consumer. A lot of these feel new. My mom calls these millennial brands. But direct to consumer, I mean, we've seen a lot of retailers have to go to direct to consumer, but these are really starting to be the norm. So the common pillars that we see woven through direct to consumer content are a little different than B2B. So we know there's humans behind the businesses that you're selling to and business to business, of course, but marketing directly to consumers looks a little bit different. So here are the pillars that we've identified that thread through the direct to consumer playbook. So digging right in, one of the first pillars to consider of direct to consumer is mission. So we can often think of mission as being like giving back, which a lot of companies do, of course, something like a Tom's where you buy a pair of shoes, they donate a pair of shoes. But really, when we talk about mission, we're talking about a brand putting their stake in the ground about a purpose that they care about. We know that people care about purpose. So take Casper as an example. Casper believes in better sleep. They believe great sleep changes everything, and that if we all got better sleep, then the world would be a brighter place. So they don't call, when you go to Casper, they don't call themselves a mattress company. They call themselves a sleep company. It's about this bigger mission of providing better sleep to their network of customers and not just selling mattresses. The second one that we're talking about here is transparency. So part of the beauty of direct to consumer is that it often cuts out the middleman, which can reduce cost. So a pillar of direct to consumer being transparency, both in price, but also in production. Everlane is a great example of this. They lift the veil of the cost of production, not only the cost, but exactly how these things are being produced. So we see Everlane as being a huge trailblazer in direct to consumer. They have played around with really interesting tactics, like having customers choose how much they want to pay. They reveal the cost of their apparel. They call this radical transparency. So not only is it a pillar that they're following, it's a pillar that we're outwardly communicating to their customers. They're sharing data and photos and videos of the factories that produce their clothing. So not only are they doing good, this also provides them an interesting competitive advantage where they can show side by side how much a traditional retailer is charging versus what they charge. So not only is it driving the mission of their company as well, they're able to be transparent with their customers, both in production and price. Okay, the third one that we think about is value. So we mentioned direct to consumer obviously means we're cutting out the middleman. So that just means you can charge less. So Dollar Shave Club, great example of, they deliver the best razors for less. The members of Dollar Shave Club get to control how much and when they're getting from this brand, and it's at a fair price. So they can cancel at any time. There's not any commitments or hidden fees. Customers feel really comfortable and have peace of mind that they're not going to get stuck in something, we're breaking a behavior here by ordering razors online, right? So in order to do that, the customer needs to have peace of mind. And quality. So quality is a must when it comes to direct to consumer. Like we mentioned in this last slide, direct to consumer is a new behavior for many customers. When you buy takeaway, for example, the luggage company, when you're buying luggage, you normally go to a department store or a store. So buying online, you have to have a smooth path and back it up with a quality guarantee. Otherwise, people aren't going to do it. So Away offers a 100-day trial. You can travel with it, put stickers on it, do whatever you want. And if you decide that it's not for you, you can return it for a full refund. So even after that trial, if your suitcase breaks, the shell, the zippers don't work or something, they're going to replace it. So this direct to consumer, with thinking of quality in mind, they put the control back to the customer so that customer doesn't feel like they're going to get stuck. And then the last pillar that we're talking about with direct to consumer is advocacy. So you can kind of argue that direct to consumer brands really started soaring when people started sharing with each other on social media. Warby Parker, probably one of the first direct to consumer companies, built a brand around their at-home try-on program and encouraging their customers to share those with each other. So their customers become automatic advocates of Warby Parker. We really see this come alive in a lot of direct-to-consumer referral or loyalty programs. Glossier is an amazing example. This cool kid makeup company has such an obsessive fan base. So when they were basically going from a blog to a company, they were able to expertly use content to have people share about their products and build brand loyalty. And what came of it is an obsessed fan base. And, we as a content creation company, Glossier is in a really, the amount of people that say, I want to be like them, that come to Suna, I mean, we have tons. They've just done such a fantastic job with their content that they've created this influential fan base of people that are just obsessed with the brand.
Thanks, Laura. So that is D2C, and D2C is, very common day. And I'm sure a lot of us spend a lot of time thinking about D2C or experiencing it, right? It's very visual. It's very in our face, just through social media and also the channels that Laura's referencing in terms of acquisition and advocacy. So when you start thinking about retail first, we wanted to share a few brands that I think are a little, not the traditional retail. A lot of times when we think about retail, we think of almost the old school retail. But I do think there's a lot of retail first or pure retail that have launched in recent years and have made a really impact in the marketplace, right? We have Milk Bar, we have Dry Bar, Lush, SOULCYCLE, pop-up grocers. Now, a lot of these had a retail first strategy, but in recent months, because of coronavirus, they really had to start changing and really forcing them to steal from other playbooks in the past few months. But when they originally started, they did really start with a retail first core pillar. So we're going to look at it from that context and then start to kind of get a hint at how they started cheating as well. The retail first strategy playbook, it really has 4 core pillars: convenience, selection, experience, and expertise. And you think about convenience, while everything now is so focused on online access, there's still something special about being able to run down and grab something immediately from a store. That's even faster than the 2-hour delivery we're getting nowadays. And pop-up grocer is really betting on the fact that customers want to have that curated, convenient experience for them to find their new favorite foods, and then continue to deliver to them after the pop-up grocer is closed and drive it to a more e-commerce experience. And so pop-up grocer really takes advantage of kind of going into new markets, creating an urgency and immediacy around their retail, and then closing it down and now translating all of that customer base they've established to an e-commerce platform. Selection. So selection, a retail first approach gives customers in the local market something unique or different they couldn't have access to elsewhere. Milk Bar really opened its doors to provide unique treats, options that you couldn't get elsewhere. And they made it so special that people were traveling just to be able to go to these stores to experience it. And now in the recent few months, you can see they're expanding online and finding ways to make sure their customers can still celebrate at home during everything. So experience, retail can really can set itself apart by the experience it can deliver. Direct to consumer, as much as we want to create an awesome online experience, there's nothing that we can really do to replicate the details that retail does deliver, down to the smell, the music, the way the person greets you when you walk into the store. E-commerce really just can't compete with this pillar. And Dry Bar is a great example. It has a really great VIP experience in the store and all day long. And it's really focused on delivering one thing and being really great at delivering that one thing. And it's recognized by creating an experience first, and then they continue to sell their products so that the customers can bring a piece of that experience back home with them. And last, I think we've heard a lot about SOULCYCLE. I think the interesting part of SOULCYCLE is not only about its amazing kind of in experience itself, but also its expertise. So retail really can be structured to connect customers with the experts they want. Think about Lululemon with yoga instructors, or Tailor and Stitch with tailors for customized fittings. And SOULCYCLE has this really impressive roster of fitness stars leading their courses. So it results in a really cult-like following that people want to not only be a part of the SOULCYCLE community, but also have this really strong attachment to the actual leaders and the instructors as a part of SOULCYCLE.
Thank you so much, Bree. Okay, so we just burned through 3 marketing playbooks to pull from: B2B, DTC, retail first. So now it's time for a pillar party. So it's time to check out all of these pillars in one place so we can take a look at the landscape and start to cherry pick what might work for your marketing strategy. So with that, when we mentioned earlier of thinking about that area of growth that you're looking for in your company, let's take a look at all of these pillars in one place. So this is a meaty slide. It's kind of overwhelming because, you know, the last piece of advice that we want to give you is to use all of these pillars at once. It's not about taking every single thing from every single place. The question is, with that marketing strategy in mind or the area of growth in mind, where can you cherry pick from these 3 playbooks? So as a B2B company, can you better share your brand or mission, or take from the DTC playbook and work with a loyalty program to explore alternative pricing tiers? In the direct-to-consumer world, can you pull from B2B and create a partnership ecosystem? Or build out customer service interactions that are delivering solutions and not just products to your customers? Or maybe not the right timing right now, but could you make a retail environment that extends your mission a little bit further and people can experience the mission that they would normally see in the e-com world in real life? As a retailer, so we know that all of these retail first places have been forced to adjust their playbooks because of COVID. But how can you build out that e-commerce store to deliver on the unique experiences that you're already delivering on in person? So let's revisit these photos that we shared earlier.
So this is back to our original quiz here. So I think a few of you might be recognizing this D2C company, and yep, it is a D2C business. This is Allbirds. So this is a D2C business that's really thinking through the retail. So when Allbirds went and extended in from their direct to consumer, they really brought in a lot of the pillars that makes them stand apart, right? So they brought in the consumer education and transparency to the brick and mortar. So there's description of their materials throughout the store. They have a limited footprint. Their store footprints are really small compared to most retail first strategies, but they're really focused on offering special selections in the retail and getting the same sort of direct to consumer education and throughput through the store footprints.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so back to this pig wearing a mask. So this is actually, we mentioned this in the B2B section, but this is Gusto. So a B2B business, this is actually what Suna uses for our resource HR and employee management. So this is a B2B business that's cheating with direct-to-consumer advocacy. So for example, Gusto, on the homepage of their website, the reviews come from users of Gusto, not the businesses that are using Gusto. So it's an interesting nuance there that they're sharing the experience of the employees rather than the businesses. They have super consumer-friendly messaging, navigation, and graphics, and encourage advocacy by posting on social. So what does this do? It results in employees bringing Gusto from one startup to the next. You know, who knows who would be using this in your company, and realizing, and Gusto has it right where they know that if anyone's going to start a company, I loved using Gusto when I worked at this place, I'm going to take this to my next place.
This next example is it's a company called Zestville. So this is also a B2B business that has many direct-to-consumer tactics, and probably, one of the only benefit companies that you actually want to follow on Twitter. So that in itself is saying something. So Zestville has really made a point of having a really playful brand. They focus on advocacy, they have fun branding and reward system, and they also have no spend minimums or contracts. So when you typically think about B2B, they really give you an opportunity to get out of your contract that's different from a typical B2B relationship. And so they're focused on delivering on quality and the value for their customers. So similar to Gusto, that as an individual, as a user, you become so excited about the experience that you, again, will bring this to future companies as well.
And just for fun, these are actually Suna headshots. So Zestville is who Suna uses for our employee benefits, and these are some fun headshots that they're a Denver-based company, so they are able to come into our studio and do some fun stuff, throwing lemons around. Okay, and the last one that we showed was actually the Suna logo. So this is our wink mark. We put this all over our website. We actually have a really fun Easter egg on our website. When you hover over the logo, it winks at you. So now digging into, so we've kind of walked through these different playbooks and the pillars associated with each. So now we're going to dig into some real examples of how Suna has cheated on the B2B playbook. So Bree mentioned earlier, Suna is a B2B tech company. We offer a consumer product and we also have retail stores. So what this means for our marketing is a little bit of an identity crisis. So when should we do the traditional B2B approach of sharing content that helps us become thought leaders in the space? What does on the direct to consumer side of things, what's a loyalty program look like for us? And when customers come into our retail stores, how is their experience there better than any other? So welcome to Suna's Pillar Party.
Yeah, here you go. This is the pillar party we celebrate and look at every day. But this, as you can see, we're not sticking to the B2B, right? Like we're highlighting only solutions in the B2B. And so we're focused really on solving a meaningful problem. And we're focused on bringing to light our mission, our transparency, and delivering on quality. But as Laura mentioned, from a retail perspective, we have these retail stores, so we need to be able to deliver on experience every day, but we really rely on our expertise of our crew and photographers to be able to deliver on that retail first experience that creates that unique connection with our customers. So we're going to dive into each one of these to give you a better sense of how we kind of approach these and get your mind thinking about how you might be able to as well. So if you think about solutions, right? Suna makes high quality content accessible. So clients know that they need content, but they don't know where to begin. So we are really about solving a meaningful problem for other businesses, one that exists at any scale. When you first launch, when you create your next product iteration, when you think about launching into a new channel, into an Amazon or to a Walmart.com, or as you continue to think about scaling your content to a different level to be able to have a broader ad presence or be able to bring even to print, right? So we think about how can we create high quality content accessible to any business at any stage of the game.
And what we're trying to do, and I think that the coolest part about the solution that when we think about this is how big of a headache creating content is and how big of a bear it can be, especially for smaller businesses of where do you begin? Who's the photographer you know? Where do you shoot stuff? Do I just take it with my phone? I mean, it solves such a meaningful headache, or it's a meaningful solution to such a headache that all business owners of any size feel.
And maybe I should actually we kind of forget, we actually offer a virtual platform, right? So this is maybe what the other component that makes it accessible to everybody. So even though we do have locations in Denver, Minneapolis, and Austin, we have a virtual photo shoot experience that allows people to log in. They send us their product. We do a live photo shoot where they can log in and join their shoot in real time. And that creates the accessibility that they can have access to their content. And I think, one other important one here is mission, right? Suna's mission is quality content for all. That comes in so many different ways. We talked about creating content for your business at different stages to support you in your growth strategies and what you're trying to accomplish and be able to give content to you anywhere. But we also have launched a Headshots for All program. So this really is about delivering free headshots for everyone, forever. So we want to help you launch your business or land the interview. And we really think this platform is an important representation of what we stand for. So when people can go onto our in the local markets that we're in, they can go in, log in, create a Headshots for All booking, and come in and take a free headshot and get their first photo for free. So the other piece of this is the transparency. So we really solve problems in a way that clients can actually see. So normal production, creatives walk away and throw back content to clients. But what we're trying to do in our real-time collaboration or in our dashboard and platform is bringing the clients actually into the experience so they can be a part of producing their content. So we think about transparency, not just on our pricing, which we bring that up front and make it really clear for clients to understand what they're pricing and how to actually deliver on their budget. But we really want them to understand what the production process looks like and how they can be a part of the solution to delivering on the high quality content right in the first time. And so it doesn't have to kind of go back and forth in trying to solve their needs.
Okay, quality. So underneath the direct to consumer umbrella, we deliver on quality. So Bree just mentioned that our mission is high quality content for all. So of course, anything that we deliver is going to be high quality for all of our customers in the more technical sense. But the way that we think about delivering on quality is that we offer an a la carte pricing where our customers only buy the assets that they love. So you create your booking with us, you pay a booking deposit to hold your spot, and then it's all opt-in. There isn't an obligation to buy. So customers have the confidence that they know they're going to get a high quality experience, and they're not going to be forced to buy the things that aren't going to work for their brand. So traditional production, you might pay a photographer to do a photo shoot, you get those assets back, and then that's what you're kind of stuck with. So the combination of being able to have our clients join live and then, not forcing them to buy everything and letting them pick the ones that they want helps them know, gives them peace of mind that they're going to get a quality experience. And speaking of experience, so something we pull from the Retail First Playbook is experience. So they're coming for high quality photo and video, but the magic with Suna is in the experience. And a huge challenge, much like any other business this year, was trying to figure out how we bring our in-studio experience to a virtual experience. When people come into our studios, it's really fun. The music's on. Our Austin studio has all these cute little like Easter eggs of paintings in the bathrooms. I mean, there are just delightful elements every step of the process. So we need to, when we do our virtual shoots, and for context, the way that it works is that our clients ship us the products, we take photos of them, and it appears live in the dashboard. We've showed some screenshots of it, and you're able to chat with us in real time. So matching that in-studio experience with a virtual experience with our tech is something that is a way that we can match that. And here's some snapshots of what we've been able to do, where we're able to take those fuzzies that you get into coming into a studio, and people are able to chat us that, this is kind of blowing their minds that every time we take a photo, it appears live in a dashboard. They could be across the world and they're still able to art direct their shoot. So taking that retail experience and bringing it to life on virtual is very, very hard. We're all learning that this year. And so, we do different things with our tech and our customer service to make sure that we are able to deliver on that experience that people get when they actually come into our studios. And then this last piece is expertise. So the heart of Suna is in our talented creatives. So Suna was founded by two women who were in the production, kind of the traditional production world. And a huge part of their vision is to create an amazing place to work for creatives. So our creatives at Suna, they not only have expertise in creativity and technical expertise, but this really comes to life in the product that we deliver. So, like Bree mentioned with SOULCYCLE or with Lululemon, people come to Suna and they're able to speak with a photographer who has technical expertise on photography, but also in creativity and bringing vision to life. So, we get a lot of fantastic feedback from our clients that naming the photographer by name about how, they might not have known what they wanted when they walked into the door, but they were able to leave with exactly what they needed and a little something extra. And the biggest way that Suna cheats on the B2B playbook is just our brand in general. So we mentioned earlier, we're here to solve a massive business problem for our customers, but we're able to do so in our own way by pulling from these different playbooks. Our branding has a lot of pink in it, very rare in the B2B world. We use emojis in our ads and super cheeky messaging that an email that you get from Suna doesn't seem like it was written by a B2B tech company. A huge part of our marketing mix is on Instagram because we know that's where our customers are actively consuming and creating content. So our challenge for you is to break out of your playbook. So thinking about the standard playbook that you're normally following or that you're considering following, and thinking about how you can take a look at these pillars and seeing the different ways that you can cherry pick here in order to get to that growth that you're looking for. So that kind of wraps this presentation part of this. Bree and I would love to invite anyone, like we mentioned earlier, we do offer everybody their first headshot free. We have a super fun different backdrop color every single month. Right now it is spice, so it's a really pretty fall kind of cinnamony, kind of actually close to burnt orange actually, in thinking about Austin. But we'd love to see everybody at the East Austin studio. You can book with us or reach out via chat on suno.co. And using the code Black Friday, when you book with us, we'll get your first photo on us. So it looks like I know that we have a couple questions that have come in. Let's see, the first one here, what are the most common mistakes when building out a playbook? I think Bree and I can both jump in here, but I'll start. I love talking. I think that one of the things that I'm thinking about as an example that Bree and I have talked about in the past of really thinking that as a B2B company, you have to stick to B2B. So, you know, an example of this would be if you're, you know, a lot of things that people do, you might read like, oh, a B2B, everybody does webinars. Do your customers care about webinars? Are you doing a webinar at a time that your customers are available? You know, a lot of things in the B2B world are putting out white papers and things like that. That type of B2B doesn't work for Suna. What works better is for us to create a more visual checkbox guide to getting to the content that you're looking for. So I think that something in thinking about a mistake would be Googling B2B Playbook and exactly following that.
Yeah, I would totally just, I would probably say a similar thing, right? And it could be across anything from a B2B versus a D2C versus a retail, where we kind of feel like there's these certain check boxes we need to hit before we can move on to the next thing. And I would really just challenge you to break out and say what's the most important to your brand and most important to reaching your customers, and think through how you could really test and try and see what's working for you.
Totally. The next question, will the slides be made available? Absolutely. I think we would love to share this out. So however we need to do that, you can also feel free to email us at hey@suna.co, and we would be able to send this over to you if there's not a way through the Austin Startup Week platform to do so. Okay, fantastic. Well, it sounds like there aren't any other questions. I think that I guess we will wrap up here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Laura and Brianna, for sharing your B2B tips with us today. That was awesome. We're now going to kick it over to a quick 15-minute networking session and hop in. So to network with the other attendees, just press the networking icon on the left-hand side of your screen, and then you'll be randomly paired with another attendee for a quick 5-minute chat. If you'd like to continue the conversation after your session, you can go ahead and click the connect button at the bottom of your screen, and you'll both receive an email afterward with instructions on how you can connect with one another later. With that, we're going to kick it off to the networking session, and we will see you all back here in 15 minutes.